Hi everyone, happy Saturday morning. We're so glad you could join us today here on Merrifield's Gardening Advisor. David is with us today, and it's September. Everybody's going back to school, so you're making us go back to school too.
That's exactly it. I was thinking the other day, I happen to live right across the street from an elementary school, and every morning there's this parade of little kids going off to school, and I was thinking, well, yeah, it's definitely back to school time, and that means for all of us, not just the kids, but gardeners as well. So we're going to kind of feature what I call back to school for gardeners today. We're going to touch on a lot of different topics. As you know, our seminars have started. We start these. And so what's happened before we get into that, I was just going to say we're going through the entire schedule, not just we're talking about the classes today, but I'm using this schedule of classes sort of as an outline for the program, touching on many different topics and the things are going on in our garden right now.
Right. Well, while we've got that up, let's go ahead and talk about the ones for today. At our Merrifield location today, fall lawn care. And David, it's not you, it's Robert Lennon today doing that. So another one of our wonderful plant specialists at Merrifield Garden Center. He's going to be talking just what it says, fall lawn care. So fall is the best time to get your lawn in shape. So attend the seminar and you'll get some great tips on that. That's at the Merrifield location, which is actually at the Merrifield Community Hall, which is right next door to our Merrifield location. At our Fair Oaks location today, Karen Rexroad is going to be talking about annuals and perennials for fall, a perfect topic. Because it's time to bring that beautiful color in, and we'll touch a little bit on that today on the show. But again, that is at 10 a.m. at the Fair Oaks location, 12101 Lee Highway in Fairfax. And at our Gainesville location, ornamental grasses and companion plants. Suzanne Conway is going to be talking about that today. She's usually out at our Gainesville location, and she's got some great ideas on how to use ornamental grasses and some wonderful companions with those. That's at our Gainesville location at 10 a.m. Next week, as David mentioned, we've got lots of seminars coming up, and so next week we've got three great ones again. I'm kind of partial to this first one, How to Be a Successful Gardener, because my dad's doing that, Bob Warhurst. At Fair Oaks, Renovating an Overgrown Landscape, and at Gainesville, Textures in the Garden. But that's next week, the 21st. So if you come by our stores or go to our website, you can pick up a copy of the whole seminar schedule at our stores. The website, merrifieldgardencenter.com, you can access them there. And we, as you said, we're going to be referencing a lot of these throughout the show today.
Right, and these classes, they're really fun, they're entertaining, they're free,
Right.
So you just show up, you don't need to have an RSVP. So at the end of today's program, if you want to run down there, we encourage you to do that.
We're going to take phone calls at the end of the show, too. I want to mention
Yes.
to everybody, too. So.
Yeah. All right, well, you ready to get back to school?
Let's get back to school. I'm ready. Got my pencil, I got my pen, I got my paper. I'm ready.
All right, well, let's get to it. Well, of course, the September, this is the best month of the year for you to get your lawn into shape. So we want to take advantage of the short days, the cool temperatures, the conditions we've had. There's a little bit of rain out there, so it's absolutely ideal conditions to get your lawn into good shape. And I'll start with a couple pictures here. So what most of us are growing are cool season grasses. This is an example with a tall fescue Kentucky bluegrass lawn. This is what most of us are going to be growing. Tall fescue is the most heat and drought tolerant of all your choices, so it's a good option to put out there into a full sun environment, but it also has reasonably good shade tolerance. We'll look to the next picture. And this is also a tall fescue lawn. This is really pushing the limits of its shade tolerance. So you can hear this kind of bright dappled light where you're getting good indirect sun and spotches of sun down there. Or a lot of times, if I say if you're getting 4 hours or more, to give you sort of an idea, then tall fescue is definitely the route for you to go. If you start going into heavier, denser shade, then that's when we switch over to the fine fescues. And what you're looking at in this next picture are what's called a fine fescue trial that's down at Virginia Tech. So they've taken these different fine textured fescues, they put them under different degrees of shade, and then they test them and evaluate them to see how they hold up in terms of color, density, heat and drought tolerance, and so on. So what happens to these fine fescues, they're not quite the same quality of lawn. They're slower growing, they're less vigorous, they don't take a lot of heavy foot traffic and use, but they do very well under the competition of trees for sun and shade, for sun, water, nutrients, and those kind of environments. And then the other one that we want to talk about a little bit is Kentucky bluegrass. Kentucky bluegrass is really a premium quality of turf. It's that wonderful, dense, dark blue-green, medium to fine textured grass. Feels so nice to walk back and forth on, so it's really just the best that you can do in terms of turf quality, but it's also going to be a little bit higher maintenance. When I say a little higher maintenance, specifically it's going to need more water during drought. It doesn't have as good a heat and drought tolerance, and also responds a little better to fertilizer and a little more management that goes to it.
Speaking of fertilizers, we've got some great fertilizers that we've come up with.
We do, but before we're jumping ahead of ourselves, I want to talk a little bit. What we've done is we custom blend our grass seed also.
Okay.
So when we're talking about, for most people, tall fescue is going to be probably the best choice for most situations. This is going to give us our best heat and drought tolerance, the full sun, the part shade. And so we custom blend our own grass seed, and it's for these different environments that are out there. There's no one answer. So for most of us, like I said, that tall fescue is going to be a very good option. If we are into heavier shade conditions and we're not able to grow the tall fescue, then we can do our Merrifield Shady. Again, that's a little slower and less vigorous in its growth, but does well competing for sun, water, nutrients under trees. And then the third one that I brought along here,
pull this out,
is the Merrifield Sunny, which is a bluegrass blend, which will give you a gorgeous lawn, but you'll have to put a little care and management into it. So we custom blend our grass seed for these different growing conditions. We use only what are called Category 1 varieties that have been tested at Virginia Tech and University of Maryland and shown superior performance in our environment. So custom blended grass seeds, and then also this is the time to be fertilizing your lawn. And the same thing, we custom blend fertilizers. This Merrifield Select is a starter fertilizer. You can see the numbers on there, that 14, 18, 14. The 18 in the middle is the phosphorus. That's a high phosphate fertilizer specifically to help the seed get germinated and off to a good strong start. So if you're seeding, you'd want to use one of those grass seed mixes we talked about and apply the Merrifield Select. Now we've had a pretty nice summer. You know, we had cool temperatures, good rainfall, and a lot of lawns have held up. And if you've got good density and you don't have a lot of bare spots,
all the better.
Then you don't really have to do the overseeding.
Right.
You could skip that and go straight to using the Merrifield Premium. This is for established lawns, and you can see it's the high nitrogen, the low phosphate level. These are slow release, so they're long lasting, they're non-burning, so they're excellent fertilizers to use. And you can see what you're looking at there is the townhouse size packaging, because again, we know we have so many customers in this area that have small lawns, that have 1,000 square feet or 1,500 square feet, and so we make it available in small sizes. If you've got a bigger lawn, then we also have the 20-pound bags available.
We're ready for you.
Good.
And a couple more pictures?
Yes. So we're saying this is a good time to fertilize and seed your lawn if you need to. Now the other thing we can do is, this is our recommended schedule of what will happen is when you see that low, medium, and high range, this really is based on your expectations for lawn quality. So low would be what I call utility turf. I try to get everybody at least to that medium level where we'll fertilize in September and then fertilize again in October. And if you're really looking for that premium quality lawn, we can do September, October, and November. So this is really the best time of year to get it. And then the other thing that we can do, fertilizer is great. It provides nutrients for your lawn. But if you're willing to go that extra step and want to put a little top dressing where we take an organic compost and spread that over top of everything, that act goes a long way to really improving the condition of your soil with these heavy, dense clays. That really starts to improve the structure and really takes it even a step higher.
Great. And don't forget our seminar today at the Merrifield location with Robert Lennon on lawns. And then you've got a special guest coming up about lawns.
We've got Dr. Goatley who's going to be coming in. He's the turf specialist from Virginia Tech. Will be coming here on the 28th. So I just didn't want the September to go by without putting a couple quick tips out there. But come to the Robert seminar this morning or come to Dr. Goatley's seminar on the 28th. That's when you get the whole story, ask your questions, and really figure out just exactly what you want to do.
Okay, so classes in session, time for a little recess. Go grab a cup of coffee and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We're back in class today, kind of a back to school for gardeners. And we were talking about the different ways you can learn about things, and we've been having a lot of fun with the Facebook and the Twitter and the Pinterest at Merrifield Garden Center. So hopefully you will, I guess you like us on Facebook and you follow us on Twitter and Pinterest. Pinterest we're really, really into. They've been posting a lot of great ideas on there.
Yeah, but you know, we do so much outreach and education because we think that's one of the things that we have to offer, not just with the TV show that's here, but the classes and seminars are talking about the social media that's out there. So it's really a fantastic opportunity to stay informed what's going on. So check it out. And then you can just go to our website, right, to access all that. You can.
Right up at the top of the website, there's a little bar, and it's got the Facebook, the Pinterest, and the Twitter things. I noticed when I was trying to sign up for Twitter, because Pinterest, sorry, because I haven't gotten on the bandwagon yet. But
you're a lot more tech savvy than I am.
Yeah,
right.
we are not the tech savvy people, and it was taking a little while to get on, but just be patient. It'll. That's a Pinterest thing, I think.
Cool. Well, we'll all learn together.
That's right.
Like I say, it's an ongoing process. Well, I tell you, there is so much going on. We're talking about fall and back to school and stuff, but believe me, the gardening season is not over, and there's lots of color out there. So let's go through a couple pictures. These are just a few of the things that really come into their own here as we go into late summer and fall. This is the start of a new season. So if some of your containers are a little tired and ragged through the summer, it's a great time to sort of spruce them up or add splash of color out to your garden. I love this combination. That bright purplish pink celosia in there is a real popular plant. It's a variety. It's called Intense. It will go for you all summer. It gives you color, but the color really brightens up as you go now into the fall and the cooler temperatures. I was reading, at least on the internet, they're saying that this is hardy up to about 35 degrees.
Wow.
So it's not a perennial. It's not going to take you into the winter, but it shouldn't give you a really bright splash of color as you go into fall. So that's a fantastic one, and it's also combined there with one of my favorite plants, the sedum, which is that succulent that's also a late summer bloomer. These are a couple varieties of sedum that's in there. The lighter pinks, or the pale pink, the almost white one, is a variety. It's called Autumn Joy. Autumn Joy has been a standard. It's a Perennial Plant Association award winner. I mean, it's a real workhorse in the garden. And these have such nice foliage on it, but then they also go into this in their late summer color, and then that flower turns to a russet brown color that carries it well into the fall or the winter. But next to it is a newer variety that I'm partial to. This is one from my own garden. It's a variety, it's called Neon. It has all the attributes of the Autumn Joy, being a nice, sturdy, durable plant, but it just gives you a brighter shade of pink in there. So there are different varieties out there. They're all fantastic. I just think I have about 3 different types of sedum in my garden, and I'm looking around thinking I might have to add some more. So late summer color, really looking fantastic now. Another one that's really moves to center stage towards this time of year is Amsonia. It's that light, airy plant in the foreground. Right now it's sort of a light green color. It gets little blue flowers in spring, has this very nice airy color during the summertime, and beginning any time now, you're going to start to see that just takes on this really bright, intense golden orange color, and the fall color on this is just spectacular. So that is a tough, durable perennial that you can use for adding that fall color. And of course, I'd be remiss if I don't say something about pansies. Pansies are a winter annual. I think they represent, to me, the best value in the landscape. You can plant them now. They're going to go all through the winter time. They're going to give you color next spring and look gorgeous for you right up until June. And then you can take all this stuff and start combining it. You know, the annuals, the perennials, take some pumpkins, a little statuary, put some of these accents together and make a fantastic composition for the fall color that goes in there. So there's so much to work with in there. More than we can talk about today,
right.
Which is why I'm inviting you to come to the class. So at 10 o'clock this morning, Karen Rexroad's going to be talking about all the wonderful annuals and perennials you can add for spectacular fall color. I brought this little combination pot in here with us. This contains things like the dianthus, sweet alyssum that's in there, even a little bit of snapdragon. These are all fantastic plants that will give you color right into the cool season.
Great. Okay. Should we take a break or should we go?
Your call.
Okay. Why don't we take a quick break? We're going to come back and talk about some grasses.
About grasses.
All right.
Okay.
We'll be right back. Okay, class is back in session. Ornamental grasses is our next subject.
We talked a little bit about turf grasses at the beginning, which are cool season grasses that we use from lawns that you can walk on and use as traffic. But a lot of the warm season grasses that are so decorative and beautiful are in their full bloom right now. So that's where we're going to turn our attention. Again, these grasses, there's just so many of them out there. It's hard to do them justice. Well, we can't. But what happens, they flower late in the summer. Again, these are warm season grasses, so they grow during the heat of summer. Now late in the season, just before the winter comes, they go into their peak bloom that's there. And so here you can just see beautiful combinations to get there. The grasses, that looks like a calamagrostis in the background. And they just add such an elegant look to the garden, just a very fine, delicate texture, and of course a sense of motion as they sway and move in the wind. So they're tough, they're durable, have so much beauty to offer, but completely functional as well. The next picture shows a fantastic use, I think, of ornamental grasses, and I'm kind of calling a no-mow hillside. So this is a steep slope in a hot, exposed, dry location. It's not the area that would be very pleasant to be trying to maintain turf. You can imagine pushing a lawnmower out there in the hot sun. So here they turned that into a real asset and used extensively these mass plantings of the grasses. Again, that's that calamagrostis that has that very, they call it feather reed grass. That's trying to find a common name. But it has that very vertical kind of look to it, makes a dramatic accent there. And the foreground, that nice blue coloration, is a pampas grass that has not come into bloom during this picture, but right now if you were to look at the pampas grasses, they have these very tall, very fluffy, beautiful plumes on it. So again, if you're looking for low maintenance, this is a nice way to knock out a hillside. The next picture shows us again just the diversity of these grasses. This is a panicum, and you see the flower head on this is completely different. Is very open panicles. That's where the name of the grasses come from. And when the sunlight passes through there, like you see in this picture,
that is spectacular.
It really is not. It's kind of a plain Jane during most of the season, but right now,
it's in its glory.
Exactly, it is. So again, an excellent combination. There's a picture out Meadowlark Gardens, which everybody knows is, I love visiting out there. But again, we're just trying to show the range of things that you can do with these grasses. So I've got a couple more pictures. This next one has where that almost looks like a fan or a brush on there.
It does.
Yeah. And they're in peak bloom right now. Those are the miscanthus. And again, these come in all different sizes and leaf colors and textures. I think this is one that's called Zabrinus that actually has a little bit of yellow variegation in the leaf. So you can get these, some that have white stripes in the leaves, yellow stripes in the leaves, so they have sometimes a little foliage interest as well.
That's great.
But again, the accent is for the plumes are on there. These are all tough, durable, heat and drought resistant, tough perennial plants. But my favorite one of all, we'll look at next.
Okay.
And you love it for that dark red color, the one in the background there, and the nice little, look like bottle brush plumes on. But this is an annual for us.
Right.
Yeah. So this is the red fountain grass, beautiful lovely, at its absolute peak right now. Consider using that in your landscape. But as I said, it's going to be an annual, so that's one that you will have to remove and replace each year.
Right. And Suzanne's going to have so many more ideas for you at the seminar today, so be sure to check that out.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. We're just kind of giving you a little teaser on a lot of these topics. Now, of course, the other is this is the time for planting. You know, fall is the season for planting. We're talking about planting lawns, planting annuals, perennials, trees, shrubs, you know, bulbs. Anything can be planted right now at this time of the year. But one of the things that we really like to emphasize, you know, is that we're successful with all of our plantings. We want you to make sure that things get planted right and watered correctly, and it's really just that simple. You do a couple of the basics right and you're home free. So we've really reached out a lot in trying to inform everybody about this. We've revised and updated our planting instructions. So that's an example of them, the big display out our garden center. It shows you step by step how to do that. We've also updated, and we have this nice brochure that's available that talks about proper planting. And then also we go a lot of detail into watering. So we get stuff planted, and then let me go into a couple details on the watering. So after we plant it and we dig that hole out nice and wide, we condition the soil, make sure we have it the correct depth. The real key to getting these plants to live is proper watering. So when you've finished planting it, we ask that you go back through and really soak that ground nice and good and thoroughly. We don't rely on rainfall. We don't rely on irrigation systems. We really pretty much recommend and almost require hand watering, because these trees and shrubs and a lot of these plants, they just have this little baby root system, the one that you bought it with. You know, over the years, as that root system reaches further out into the soil, they can get better advantage of the rainfall and the water. But we soak it really well with hand watering, and then you don't water it again basically until it's used up that water you first provided.
And you need to test for that. You don't need to go by the time frame.
Absolutely. It's impossible for us to give you a schedule. I know everybody wants us to give you an exact schedule, but every plant's different, every environment's different, the weather changes. So all we can do is say you water it really well and then continue to check on it a couple times a week. And the way that you can check on it is we've evaluated all different types of moisture meters. We went through this process where we tried digital moisture meters, kind of, you know, manual ones, you know, all different manufacturers. And
Maybe
essentially,
a little test garden set up. It was great.
Right. We went through this whole process. We spent over a year researching all this stuff out and essentially narrowed down to a couple of choices. My favorite one, which you'll see in this next picture, is really not even a moisture meter. This is just it's for taking soil samples, but what I love about this thing is there's no guesswork in there. You just punch it down into the ground. You can punch it right into that root ball if you need to, pull a soil plug out of there, and you feel it with your fingers.
Right.
And you can determine if it's wet or dry. And essentially, we want that soil to feel like a damp sponge, like you've just finished doing the dishes. If it's soaking wet, you need to back off in your watering. If it's bone dry, it's time to give it a good, thorough soaking once again.
Right. And of course, next week, my dad, Bob Warhurst, is going to be talking about tips for successful gardening. So.
Yeah, so come there. I tell you, he's the guy that motivated me and all this stuff. Really drove this home, worked side by side, and I'll talk to you in more detail. We also have this moisture meter, which we've really learned to enjoy it. It's made out in, I think, Iowa or Nebraska, but they come in, we calibrate them all before we put them out on the shelf, and he can give you more detail and explanation on exactly how to utilize these. But there are different ways of sampling the soil and determining what's going on there and when and how to water, and believe me, he will give you all the details on that.
Great. Okay. Let's take another break.
Okay.
Okay, let's take another break, and we will come right back and talk about some landscaping ideas. Stay tuned. Now, if you need a little help with your landscape, maybe you want to just add a few things, or maybe it's time for a makeover, it's a great time to call our landscape designers. We've got a few examples of just some of the things that they've done here.
Right, you definitely want to take advantage of this fantastic season that's coming ahead. I thought this was a very interesting landscape design. Again, we have several talented designers, and of course, every landscape is different in its own way. You can see this, I thought, was an excellent way to deal with the drainage issue there, providing for the water with that dry creek stone. I don't know I've ever seen somebody do this right through their front entrance, but I loved it. Of course, everybody's tastes are a little different, but thought that was fantastic. So that's the front yard. And then if you go around this same landscape to the backyard, you start to see developing a very naturalized look, mix of different type of materials there with the rough cut or random cut sort of flagstone that's in there, the large steppers. So again, we can fit the landscape to suit your style as anything is there. And of course, like you're seeing here, we do lots of construction, steps, patios, walls.
They add so much to the landscape.
The drainage work. So we are a full service company and capable of doing it all. The next one, which I'm calling sort of outdoor living, which shows again where you can take so much good use and advantage of your landscape and extending your living space out there where you've got a place to sit, relax, entertain, cook out. Or it could be something a little more formal in its appearance, like this sort of courtyard dining area. This was a space that was just completely dysfunctional and of no use to the homeowners prior to us getting there. Went in there, and this Mary Kirk Menefee's design had gone in, really did a complete redo and turned this into a fabulous place for outdoor dining.
And this was a small townhouse backyard, and got plenty of room now.
So we'll work to any specifications you have.
And if you want to do it yourself, design it yourself, we've got several design seminars during this series of seminars too, so check those out as well.
Yeah, it's always a popular topic, so yeah, all the different ones, walks, walls, patios, color, texture, covering it all.
And you can always come in and talk to, to our in-house designers and just get some great ideas, and our salespeople. Everybody's got lots of help for you.
Right. Now, every gardener I know, in addition to loving the garden, seems to have a good library or book collection to go with it, and everybody also loves sharing photographs of their garden. This is just like if you're sharing photographs of your children. Believe me, I have customers come in and share photographs of their gardening. So that's something that I think a lot of us can enjoy, and we're also going to have classes on landscape and garden photography. So Karen Rexroad is going to be teaching that class, but there's a couple examples I want to bring in some of her photography. Karen is a phenomenal horticulturalist, also a phenomenal photographer that's in there. So here she's just showing a nice composition with the alliums in there, and I love sort of the different layers and different textures that are in there. So an excellent composition there, a nice contrast in color. And of course, if you want those bulbs, now is the time to be getting them. There's also, just go through a couple pictures quickly of beautiful little, that's a wisteria arbor growing over the bench. This is a garden that she works at and helps with the design and maintenance on. And she'll also be talking about some of the close-up photography and ways that you can really bring this artistic touch to your landscape. So the thing is, you don't want to miss that class. It's coming up on the 28th of September. But that's Karen, and because of her background and knowledge on both the plants and the photography, I'm sure it's something we can all benefit from.
Absolutely. Okay, let's keep going.
A couple of our best workers here showing up. We always like to show off our staff, and that's what we do not only with our seminars, but our TV show. And here's a couple of our Employee of the Week coming up here.
With the bulb. The next
Let's
picture?
see here. Get our next picture going here.
There they are.
These two bears are always hard at work.
Tried to set you up for that. But.
Yeah. No, I see them in all different places in the store. It's amazing. I find them working sometimes in the floral department. Here they are working out the breezeway, helping to sell the bulbs. But the thing is, this is the time to be planting bulbs. You plant them now in September, October, November time period, and then they come up and reward us so much in the spring.
And Peggy's going to be doing a bulb seminar on October 5th.
Right. Just didn't have time to go into detail on that, so I just wanted to let everybody know that they'll have to come in and join us for that seminar.
Right.
Now, I did want to talk a little bit about gardening with deer.
Right.
I know that we're going to run out of time on this, but when you're trying to landscape and deer are in the neighborhood, this is such a headache to everybody. And it's so widespread that deer population increases, and they just have this voracious appetite. So it's so discouraging as gardeners. We put these beautiful bulbs and flowers and annuals and perennials out, and only come out and find the deer have demolished them. Well, I feel like there's really no one answer to this problem, But probably, to me, where we can do, one of the things we can do is we begin with what we refer to as deer-resistant plants. We do not use the term deer-proof.
Right.
And we always use the word deer-resistant. So these are plants that are less favored, let me say, by the deer, and local populations will vary. I thought it was very interesting to learn if a gestating mother is eating a particular plant, then her young are born with a taste for that. But these are some of the things that you can pretty reliably grow in your landscape. Things like the crepe myrtle, that nice sort of evergreen there with that feathery texture in there is called a plum yew. Typically yews are really just eaten like candy by deer, but this plum yew they seem to be leaving alone. Lots of varieties there. That variegated leaf is a false holly. That's an osmanthus. Those have been very tough, durable plants. The caryopteris, which we're showing there, that's a beautiful shrub that's coming and adding that late summer color, and other ones that deer don't like. So these are just some of the plants that you can include, so it's not all lost. We have a pretty extensive list available. You can pick this up at our garden center, or it's available through our website.
Right.
And we broke it down in terms of annuals, perennials, trees,
quite a long
shrubs.
list.
But you know what, there's sometimes there are things...
A 6-pager, look at that.
Yeah, so you got things to work with, but sometimes like your heart's set, I want to grow camellias, or I want to grow daylilies, or I want to grow tulips, or I want to grow pansies. These are all things that the deer will make a feast on.
Right.
So in that situation, you pretty much reach for the repellents. And again, we sell probably 10 or 12 different types of repellents because these are all, a little bit of trial and error goes on this. They are effective, but over time deer will become adapted to them. There's different methods of application and so on. But Bob X is one that's been very reliable for us. It's been around for like 25, 30 years. It's got a long track record. It's sprayed directly on the plants. And it's got both a nasty smell, and it also has hot pepper in there. So the deer tend to leave that alone, really lasting for anywhere from about 5 to 8 weeks between applications. Another one that is becoming very popular with our customers is this all seasons deer repellent. And what people like this about this is the repellent is inside that little weatherproof canister. So there's no mixing, there's no spraying. You just put these little canisters out in the garden, and they usually last for several months that are out there, but you have to space them about every 5 feet. So they can't, you know, they're used to protect particular plants, particular parts of the garden. You can't very well treat your whole landscape to it.
Right.
So, like
and Robert Woodman's going to elaborate on all this in his seminar, and his is coming up on October 19th.
This is such a big topic, exactly. You need to go to the class to get all the details and get the whole story on this.
Right. Well, we've got one more thing to share with you. We're going to do that when we first come back from this break, and then we'll take your phone calls after that, so stay tuned. Welcome back. We do have a little bit more to share with you, but in the meantime, we've got the phone number up there. If you have any gardening questions, please give us a call, 703-387-1046. And before we get to our phone callers, we have all of these gardening seminars, but we also have some decorating seminars for the holiday season. So we've got a couple pictures to share on that.
It's not that
far
away. Exactly.
That's for sure.
It'll be here before you know it. So yeah, absolutely. You know, we're all about the gardening and the landscaping, but also the home decor and decorating and entertaining. And so we've got some fantastic things that are coming up, and really want to encourage you to attend those classes also. So we've got some neat things coming onto our schedule that have to do with you know, pairing wines with food selections, pairing, you know, floral arrangements with table settings. So there's going to be all kinds of neat things. So we want you to take advantage of that. I thought this kind of you know, be nice if you were having a nice Thanksgiving dinner for somebody. You could do a setting like that. And of course, you know, we go from Thanksgiving, and not far behind that is Christmas. And we do a huge Christmas shop and spend lots of time trying to teach you about the decorating and ways to make arrangements and so on. And it's just a small sample that's there, so you certainly want to take advantage of those classes and workshops as the season progresses.
Right, and those will be right around the holidays. I guess the last week of November, oh no, the week before. of November, and then the first weekend of December.
Track. We have the ladies' night out.
We have the ladies' night out, and we'll have the open house. Let me get you the dates here, actually.
Yeah.
So November 23rd will be a holiday party and wine and appetizers.
And don't leave out Halloween. We'll be doing our annual Halloween dog Halloween costume contest. So you just have to get the schedule and make sure you take advantage of all of it.
Go to the website, list everything that we've got going on. So if you have any questions, give us a call, 703-387-1046. And David, guess who's on the line? Our friend Richard is on the line. Hey, Richard, how are you?
Good morning. Good to see both of you, Debbie and David.
Thank you.
As far as my this plant concerned, somebody in Colorado told me, oh, they will not marigold. So I took one of my marigolds out front lawn, the deer can get, and about 2 weeks later, no more blossoms on it, taking them all off. And now they've all trimmed.
I'm telling you, Richard, we have a terrible connection there. All I could hear is something about marigolds and deer.
Yeah.
But
Are you still there, Richard? No, I think we may have lost him.
That didn't work.
I'm sorry.
Well, do we have another caller, or are we having trouble with our phones?
Tom from Ashburn is on the line. Hi, Tom.
Hello, good morning, David.
Oh my goodness, this is all our regular viewers calling in today.
Great.
Oh, you didn't pick up on calling from Ashburn, though.
Oh, I did pick up. So you're in your new house now. Right?
No, I'm freeloading at my son's house.
Oh.
So
well, I know you're earning your keep out there.
I know. Well, yeah, I get it exactly. I got to earn my keep. So I'm going to do the help him out. He's got a few spots, David, with the lawn restoration. And I just. Was wondering, I forget the sequence. Do I put the seed down and then the fertilizer and then the topsoil, or what's the sequence there for these bad spots?
Well, again, this is almost like cooking. You can vary the recipe somewhat, but what I would really suggest is you go out and where you've got these bare spots or areas where it's really thin, I just do a real aggressive raking, kind of scratch them up, get any dead grass and debris that's out of there. Mm-hmm. If you want to mix a little compost in at the same time, that's good. And then seed it and fertilize it. You can do that at the same time, using usually our Tough Play and the Select, depending on your environment that's there.
Right.
And then after you've done all that, just put a little thin layer of compost over there. Grass seed actually requires sunlight to germinate, so it doesn't want to be buried deep. You just want to put enough to cover that, help keep it moist, keep it watered, and then within 1 to 2 weeks you should have new grass coming in there.
David, I forgot the Alzheimer's. What's the name of the compost again you like?
We sell one. It's called McGill's Soil Builder.
Right.
I think that's the best one for use for lawns. It does have the biosolids in it, so it's a little bit smelly. That's why I like to caution people with it. But that's also what adds the nutrients and makes it so good.
Okay, and if I can slip in one more quick grass question, for me, we did buy this house, but unfortunately, it looks like closing's not going to be till February, and I was wondering, when is the last I should, have them sod, or should I just wait till next spring? But, is there like a temperature or date-wise, that you would recommend?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Now, what happens as far as seeding a lawn, which I know is different, to me, your prime time, best time, is about September 1 to October 15. The nice thing about sod is you can do any time of year because you're buying grass that's already a year old. Somebody's grown it in. And it can be done anytime except when the ground is frozen. Mm-hmm. So come February, depending on what type of winter we're having, you'll have to kind of make a decision. I'll tell you, root growth pretty much comes to a stop when the soil temperature reaches 40 degrees. So if you want to get really technical on it, I'd say it's best if the soil temperatures are above 40 degrees when the sod's installed.
And how about the landscaping package? They're going to be planting the trees and the shrubs that come with it. Should I wait till the spring, or does it make a difference on those plants?
Yeah. Now, as long as the ground's not frozen, as long as you can dig a hole, you can do the planting. And and your builder's going to have a legal requirement to put sod down as far as erosion control goes. So just work with them, and we just got to do the best we can with it.
All right, David. Well, thanks for answering my questions. And when I get a new place, I'll come out and see you, and I'll have to start all over again.
All right, sounds exciting.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and come back with some more of your phone calls. Stay tuned. Okay, we've got a few more phone calls. Let's see. Kevin is calling from Colesville, Maryland. Hi, Kevin. Are you there?
Good morning,
Good
Debbie.
morning.
Good morning.
Debbie and David. Yeah, thanks. I actually called in for a success story, but I also want to say hello to apparently my neighbor, Richard, in Colesville.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know him, but he sounds like a great guy.
He's a great guy.
But David, you particularly, I had a terrible problem with Japanese stiltgrass. And I was so frustrated with it. I manage about an acre, and you told me to use preen, and I used it twice, and I virtually had 100% control this year.
Right.
And I know a couple other friends that have used it, but they didn't water it in, and I just wanted to stress how important that was. And you stressed that, and it was really great. So I'm so thankful to you and to Merrifield, and I just wanted to report back.
Well, I am so glad you called because, earlier this week I had a customer who came in that did the 2 applications of preen, and it didn't work. And I was sitting there kind of beside myself. Well, I still think that's the best recommendation you can have. So I forgot to ask them if they were watering in, and I think that could be the key difference that's there. So, yeah, I'm so glad to hear that worked for you.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, thanks, and keep it up. I really enjoy watching.
That gets me
Thank
off
you.
the hook with the other customer.
right.
It didn't
Yeah, I
work.
know,
I'm
and
like,
hopefully they're watching.
Yeah, I was going to say, it should have worked. Yeah.
No, and I think that's the biggest problem. It needs to be watered in. So.
Yeah, that's some very good advice. Thanks for sharing it.
Thanks
Thank
for the
you.
call. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Okay, let's see. Ed is calling from Fairfax. Hi, Ed.
Yeah, hi. Always enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I have a question for David. David, my children got me a dogwood tree for an anniversary, and
Nice
I want
gift.
to put it in this spot. It's a prominent spot, but I have a crepe myrtle in that particular location, and it's sizable. It's about 3-inch caliper on some of the stems, and I want to ask you, if I cut that at the base, and I know I'm going to get a lot of shoots come up through there.
Right.
Can I handle that? Can I spray it with something or just remove the shoots, and will it eventually kill the crepe myrtle? Because it would be a big job to dig that out. And then I want to put the dogwood right in that particular area.
Yeah. In the long run, I know it's going to be a big job, but in the long run it might be better to try to dig that out because the crepe myrtle does produce lots and lots of suckers, and it's a vigorous grower. Now, your other option that you could consider is there is what's called stump and vine killer. And what you would do is you would cut the crepe myrtle down, and immediately, right while you're there and that cut's still fresh, you would paint this stump and vine killer right on that exposed cut. It's an herbicide that's absorbed down. It translocates down into the root system to kill the remaining stump. But the fact of the matter is, this being an old, established, vigorous plant, it's not going to be enough to totally kill it. It's going to send suckers up. You'll cut those suckers off. You'll treat them with a stump and vine killer. And this process of cutting and treating could probably go on for a couple years. That's why I'm saying at the end of the day, you might just have to sort of
Just
break
ground.
down and just go ahead and try
Yeah.
to dig that stump out of there.
Okay, then I see that. Okay, well, thank you very much, and always enjoy your show.
All right. Well,
you.
thanks for watching and giving us a call.
Take
Okay.
care. Okay, let's see. Next is Dan, who's calling from Newmarket. Hi, Dan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a helpful hint for you.
All right.
Oh,
It
love it.
concerns a very good deer deterrent. When I was younger, I worked at a wildcat park in Oregon. What we did is the owner made what he called a manure tea from the poop, for lack of better words, of
Right.
the wildcats, add a little water, kept it in a plastic garbage can, spread it around the perimeter of the garden property, and when the deer came up and smelled that, they took off like a bullet. So I've tried it here in Newmarket. It works perfectly. I got a little bag from the National Zoo of tiger manure, and it works perfectly.
Yeah, and there's, like I said, there's lots of different techniques out there. We do sell predator urine, which is another option that's out there. So, yeah, there's so many good ideas out there, and I appreciate you sharing that.
Sure, just a helpful hint for you, and I love you, Cheryl.
Oh, well, thank you.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Okay, do we have another caller? Okay. Wanda from Collins, Maryland. Hi. We have about 1 minute. Do you have a really quick question? Are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a very quick question? Got less than a minute.
Okay, I have a crepe myrtle that is turning black, and the leaves are starting to fall off of it, and the bark is turning black, and I was wondering if there was something that I could do to put on it.
Yeah, so that's, you have a heavy aphid infestation that's there. It's so late in the year, I don't know that I would bother with it now, but next spring, use this bare tree and shrub, protect and feed. It's a soil treatment. It'll be absorbed up through the roots and will take care of that problem. But for now, I wouldn't worry about too much.
Don't touch it right now.
Great.
All right, thank y'all so much.
Thank
I
you.
love your show.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, we've run out of time. Thank you for our class lesson today. This
Boy,
was
we
great.
covered a lot of stuff.
We did. So hopefully you'll take advantage of the seminars, especially the 3 today. Let's see, next week, what are we going to be talking about next week?
Well, Peggy's going to be on next week.
Fabulous fall containers with Peggy. Yep. So we hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.